What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Welcome to episode 2 of From Where I Sit. You may notice it's been a little while since we did one of these. I said I was going to do one weekly. This is basically the last day I could possibly fit one in to do one weekly. I've been down and out with this bad gastrointestinal flu for the last couple of days. It's been truly horrific, and I hope none of you out there happen to catch it. But a vlogger's work is never done, so let's get into it. From Where I Sit on Rashard Mendenhall, and by extension, separating an athlete's athletic accomplishments from their personality and personal lives and opinions. As you may have heard earlier this week, NFL running back Rashard Mendenhall announced his retirement from the NFL at the tender age of 26, ending a 6-year career which saw him run for over 4,200 yards and score 37 touchdowns, winning 2 AFC championships and Super Bowl 43 as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Mendenhall's retirement comes with a fair amount of scrutiny, not only for the way that he announced his retirement, which was via a blog post on Huffington Post where he's a regular contributor, rather than by like a press conference or any other kind of official method, but also for the young age and the early stage of his career at which he retired. Now, Mendenhall's aforementioned post indicates his reasoning behind not only retiring at this stage of his career, but also in the method that he chose. He indicates that rather than making a big deal out of his retirement, quote, "I didn't want to have to say things that were cliche. I've done enough of that playing football. I just kind of wanted to disappear." Further stating that he was, quote, "okay with fading to black." Mendenhall goes on to discuss his trials and triumphs in the game of football, lamenting how the game of football has blurred the lines between sport and entertainment, between fantasy value and real value, and sums up his reasoning for stepping away from the game in saying, quote, "I've greatly enjoyed my time, but I no longer wish to put my body at risk for the sake of entertainment." Mendenhall's example is a prime example of what I feel is a significant issue in sports today. Whether fans can separate the athletic accomplishments of an athlete from their personal opinions or personal lives. Mendenhall made waves in 2011 after posting some controversial tweets about the death of Osama bin Laden, criticizing those who were celebrating his murder, going on to post a tweet that many read as in favor of certain conspiracy theories involving 9/11. As such, while journalistic reaction to his retirement has been either mostly positive or indifferent, much of the fan reaction to the retirement has been rather negative, amounting to little more than, "he wasn't that good anyway, good riddance," and calling him, among other things, Osama bin Mendenhall, which honestly isn't that clever, even for the internet. Another prime recent example comes in the case of Jay Cutler and his wife, who have recently come out as, quote, "vaccine truthers," stating that they will never have their children vaccinated. Every individual in the world is, or rather should be, fundamentally entitled to his or her own path so long as it damages no one else. And wars have been fought for the fundamental right to free expression. Now, that does not at all mean that we have to agree with all opinions. If you'll remember from the first episode of this series, no opinion is universal. From Where I Sit, Rashard Mendenhall should not only be celebrated for ending his athletic career on his own terms, which a dwindling number of professional athletes can claim today, and in pursuit of something, at least in his own mind, which is really the only context that matters, much greater. But Mendenhall and all athletes should have the fundamental leeway of having their athletic careers and accomplishments be wholly separated from their personal lives, thoughts, and opinions. It is 100% fair game as a fan of a player, team, or sport to disagree with something someone in the sports world says. But to then turn around and use that disagreement as a vehicle to deride that person as an athlete is biased and unfair. Mendenhall may have been injury prone and is far from the greatest running back of all time, but he was a very good athlete. Do I agree with the things that he said or may have said about 9/11 conspiracies and Osama bin Laden? Not necessarily. But those opinions are completely irrelevant in the context of Rashard Mendenhall, the athlete. I would like to thank Mr. Mendenhall as a fan of the game of football for his contributions and wish him the best of luck in the rest of his hopefully long life. And should he ever decide to return to the game of football, I would happily welcome him with open arms. I'm Bridgewater's Finest, and that's where I sit on Rashard Mendenhall and separating athletic accomplishments from personal thoughts and opinions.